Hello, and welcome to the Reaching Home Community Homelessness Report Introduction to the 2023-24 Reporting Cycle, Roles and Timelines webcast for the Homelessness Policy Directorate's e-course on the Community Homelessness Report, which we refer to as the CHR. This webcast provides training for our community entities about the CHR for the 2023-24 reporting cycle. This training webcast will cover the following topics: a brief overview of the CHR, key milestones and timelines for this reporting cycle, and roles and responsibilities. First, let's do a quick overview of what the CHR is and what it covers. The CHR is an annual Reaching Home reporting deliverable that helps communities to self-assess their progress with program implementation. It's about understanding the state of homelessness at the community level. More specifically, through the CHR, communities self-assess their progress with Reaching Home implementation as outlined in the Reaching Home directives, including integrated community-level governance, meaningful collaboration between Indigenous and non-Indigenous partners, encouraging broad participation and partnerships, coordinating service delivery, or in other words, coordinated access, a homelessness management information system, or HMIS, and maintaining quality person-specific data on homelessness to track progress against reduction targets for the 5 Reaching Home core outcomes. As a reminder, the 5 core outcomes are: homelessness is reduced overall, new inflows to homelessness are reduced, returns to homelessness are reduced, Indigenous homelessness is reduced, and chronic homelessness is reduced. Communities are encouraged to use their CHR data to develop or update clear plans of action that help them to reach their homelessness reduction targets and to leverage the collective efforts of service providers working across the community over and beyond Reaching Home funded service providers. Once CHRs are finalized, CEs are asked to make a summary of the results available to the public. Reaching Home does not take a one-size-fits-all policy direction across the country. There are a few funding streams, and these streams have different program expectations. I'm going to walk you through what this means for the CHR. Only communities funded through the Designated Community Stream and the 3 territorial capitals funded under the Territorial Homelessness Stream are expected to complete a CHR every year. That said, who is not expected to turn in a CHR every year? In Quebec, communities publish annual reports on the implementation of coordinated access and the outcomes-based approach as per the terms of the Canada-Quebec Agreement regarding Reaching Home 2019 to 2024. As such, they are not required to complete an annual CHR. CHRs are also not a minimum requirement related to the Indigenous homelessness or rural and remote homelessness funding streams. That said, while CEs receiving funding only from the Indigenous homelessness stream don't have to complete a CHR, many areas across the country have designated communities and Indigenous homelessness funding streams that coexist within the same geographic area. In communities where these streams coexist and where there are 2 distinct community entities, the designated community is expected to collaborate with the Indigenous homelessness community entity on the CHR. It is also important to note that the CHR is not the same as the annual results reporting that all communities will continue to complete through a Results Reporting Online or RROL platform. Results reporting is about the specific projects funded by Reaching Home. It measures outputs and outcomes for clients funded through federal investments, such as how many clients were given a Reaching Home funded grant to cover an overdue rent payment and the impact this had at the client level. CHR data, on the other hand, measures efforts to address homelessness and the difference that these efforts and investments are making at the community level. So, for example, how many people were prevented from losing their housing over the last year across the community? The CHR takes a whole of community reporting approach, year-over-year trends as a whole, not filtered by funding source. Designated communities and territorial homelessness CEs must submit their 4th CHR to their EPO by May 30, 2024. This report will cover activities and include data spanning the fifth year of the program from April 1st, 2023 to March 31st, 2024. While there are some nuances to the steps that communities need to take, in general, there are 5 key milestones to the CHR process. First, CEs collect data and complete their CHR. Then, CABs review and approve the CHR by signing off on it. The CE submits their CHR to their Infrastructure Canada representative. Once submitted, each CHR is reviewed by Infrastructure Canada for completeness, clarity, and alignment with other sources of information. For the entire CHR, you shouldn't be skipping any questions that are not shaded out in the reporting template unless the section is optional, for example, section 4B and 4C. For all questions apart from sections 4B and 4C, which are optional, if the question is not shaded out and you leave a response blank, we will need to follow up with you to complete that question before your CHR can be finalized. The last milestone happens after the CE receives a copy of their finalized CHR back from Infrastructure Canada. At this point, the CHR summary can be shared with the public. As noted in the tip box, you might want to think about where you will publish your CHR summaries so that when you get notification from Infrastructure Canada that your CHR is finalized, you are ready to go. Sometimes approvals to share information with the public can take time, particularly if there are many levels of approvals to secure in advance. Here is the CHR timeline that we are working with for the 2023-24 reporting cycle. You will see the launch date of March 8, 2024 and the due date of no later than May 30 of this year. This is aligned with your Reaching Home agreements. We know that you'll be busy with data collection up to March 31st and preparing your CHR for submission. Over the course of March 2024, we released a number of training tools to help you complete your CHR. These training tools can be found on the Homelessness Learning Hub CHR Reporting Tools e-course. Once you submit your CHR, you can expect to hear back from your Infrastructure Canada representative sometime in the late spring or summer, possibly with a request to adjust the CHR if something in your report was unclear or incomplete, or if there are no follow-ups for this year, you'll get a PDF copy of your CHR summary which you can make publicly available. Once all of the CHRs have been submitted, we will shift our focus to work on analyzing the results and then sharing back what we learned and our next steps. Before we move on, I do want to acknowledge that for some communities, it took an extended amount of time to review and finalize your first few CHRs. I want to assure you that we have put measures in place so that we can move through the process much faster at the federal level going forward. Thank you so much for your patience throughout the past reporting cycles and for your feedback on how we can make things better. Now let's go through the roles and responsibilities. As a community entity, you have 6 main responsibilities. You will need to participate in HPD training, which includes consulting the tools and webcasts on the Homelessness Learning Hub CHR e-course, ensure meaningful collaboration between Indigenous and non-Indigenous partners on the CHR, including with the IHCE and IHCAB where applicable, complete a draft CHR and incorporate feedback from the CAB and other partners, submit and approve CHR to Infrastructure Canada, as needed, make adjustments identified by Infrastructure Canada, and publish a summary of results once your CHR is finalized by Infrastructure Canada. Your CABs have 3 main responsibilities. They will need to review the draft CHR and provide feedback to the CE, approve the final CHR and sign off, and use CHR results to inform discussions on local priorities, challenges, and opportunities. Your Infrastructure Canada representative, called Engagement and Program Officer or EPO, has 4 main responsibilities. EPOs will attend HPD training, receive the CHR from the CE, conduct and support the review of the CHR for completeness, clarity, and alignment, and once the PDF version of the CHR summary is received from HPD, send a copy to the CE and request that it be made available to the public. And finally, Staff in the Homelessness Policy Directorate, or HPD, also have some responsibilities. They will provide CHR training, conduct and support the review of the CHR for completeness, clarity, and alignment. When no additional follow-ups are required, secure sign-off and create a PDF version of the summary which gets sent to EPOs, and summarize CHR results and support next steps. A review of this information is also included in the CHR reference guide. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this webcast.